Hi, everybody. I'm Avery Travis, a fan of South Plains politics. Here's your talking points for this week. Residents concerned about ongoing water contamination near the old Reese Air Force Base. And a bill to have beer to go.
From the studios of KMAC Television in Lubbock, your local election headquarters. This is Talking Points with Bryan Mudd, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Services.
But first, a week of complaints and concerns across Texas have caught the attention of Governor Abbott after plumbers found out they no longer needed a license to do their line of work thanks to a move in the legislature, or should I say lack of movement. Plumbers from across the nation and right here in Lubbock planning a protest on the Capitol steps. But KMAC's Tori Larned takes a look at how the governor plans to address the problem.
Plumbers continue work as usual, but on their mind, the possibility that anyone can do their job soon.
I mean, just the normal people are saying this is insane, this is crazy, this is putting people's health at risk.
The legislative session abolished the State Board of Plumbing Examiners, which regulates plumbing licenses. Without it, it would be up to individual cities to create their own licensing. Joe Rushing, the owner of Rushing Plumbing, Heating, and Air, is hoping Governor Abbott will fix the problem.
Maybe he's starting to feel the pressure and hopefully do something about it.
Governor Abbott tweeted on Tuesday, quote, "The legislator has given the governor many tools in my toolbox to extend the State Board of Plumbing Examiners for 2 years without needing to call a special session. We will let you know very soon. Don't worry." But customers do worry. If he doesn't follow through, their families could be at risk.
That's a huge concern because you never know what your neighbor's going to be hiring next door just to be out to save a penny. And I mean, they could be risking their health, their lives. They could be risking, you know, your family's lives.
Until Governor Abbott makes it official, Rushing says plumbers across the state are planning to rally in Texas to make their voices heard.
It's just letting them know that, hey, we're still here and we're not going anywhere and we can't do this. This is insane.
Tori Larned, KMAC News.
That brings us straight to this week's poll question. Would you feel comfortable hiring an unlicensed plumber? Yes or no? Talk to us on our KMAC Facebook page and online at everythinglubbock.com. Click on Talking Points and give us your opinion. Well, summer should bring more visitors staying in our hotels and renting cars just in time for the implementation of the hotel motel tax and the rental car tax that'll go towards supporting the new Expo Center project. Last week, the county commissioners were supposed to vote on the order calling for that tax to kick in on July 1st, but that vote was tabled. Earlier today, we sat down with County Judge Curtis Parrish to see why and get the latest update. We've been talking a lot about the new Expo Center and the tax that will be implemented to help pay for that. The vote was supposed to come at one of the last county commissioner meetings. That was postponed. If you could talk a little bit about the timeline now going forward.
Well, the timeline going forward is we will approve the language that needs to be approved in order to start collecting that tax as of July 1st. And so that vote will come on next week on June the 10th. We will finalize that vote. Last week when we had a commissioners court meeting, the language that was presented to us wasn't fully, you know, all the T's weren't crossed, all the I's were, there were still some holes in the order itself. And when it comes to a tax order, I mean, everything has to be really perfect. And if it's not really perfect, then it's very prudent for us as commissioners or any governmental entity to just back off for a little bit. Let the attorneys hash out the language that needs to be hashed out so that what we do pass will be acceptable, and then we can start collecting that tax, and then we can start getting the ball rolling on getting this venue built.
Trying to implement that tax by July. If you could talk a little bit about, there is that impending deadline, so I know there was some pressure to get this vote passed and kind of get that ball rolling.
Well, the deadline is really sort of artificial. What we are waiting on and what we are needing from the county point of view is that whole financial structure. What will this financial structure for this facility look like? This public-private partnership that we're entering into with the Lubbock County Expo Center, what is that going to look like? Who's going to be responsible for what financially? What is the makeup of the board going to look like? And those are questions that are still to be decided. We will make those decisions as we go forward, as we get information from LCEC going forward. And then once we get that information, then we as the county will be able to then take that next step forward. Building a facility is just not something, and I hope people understand, it can't happen overnight. We appreciate that vote that happened in November, but what we are doing today is we are putting that structure in place, that foundation. If your foundation isn't good, your building will crumble, quite literally and figuratively and financially. And I think it's up to us as county commissioners and the commissioners court and myself as the county judge to make sure that financially we are on a solid foundation.
Obviously, a big part of that foundation, the money. Some of those original projections, $50 million, part coming from the tax and part coming from private funding, as you mentioned. You know, I know you said it's going to take a little bit to see how much this tax garners. What are the projections now? How much money do we think this tax is going to make for this project?
Well, and again, I'll tell you, Avery, we don't know. Those are still kind of those final decisions have not been made. But I will tell you this: once we start collecting that tax on July the 1st, that's when really the clock starts ticking, and so our deadlines will now be forced upon us. Once the revenue starts coming in from this tax collection, from the hotel occupancy tax, and also from the car rental tax, once that money, that revenue starts coming in, we must get those bonds sold within the next 12 months. And so in order to get those bonds sold, we need to answer all of those questions that you're talking about. How much money is this going to generate? How much private money will be available to us? And then overall, what will be the scope, the breadth, the location, everything regarding this project.
Is there any concern that this tax would not generate enough to help support this project?
Well, the tax will support the project. The question becomes how big of the project is this going to be? And I know the committee's getting a lot of input from the community as to what the community needs. Do we need a multi-purpose facility? Do we need a single-purpose facility? Do we need a facility that will handle concerts and tractor pulls and monster trucks and rodeos? And does it need to be a dirt floor? Do we need concrete under and dirt on top? None of those questions have been answered specifically yet. But what we need first is that financial foundation, and that's where we are right now. And then within the next 12 months, those final decisions will be made by the committee, approved by the county, and then we can get building.
Lots to be watching over the next few months. I did see that there was a change in the FAA laws that might have some effect on that rental car tax. Is that something the county's worried about?
Worried about's probably not the right word, but we're watching that. There's some discussion whether or not the FAA rules will require only money that is collected on a sales tax or a tax from these short-term car rentals can only be used to airport facilities if that's where the car is being rented from. There is some question about that. Those questions have not been resolved as of yet, but we still will be going forward. There are other car rental places in the community that we will be also drawing a tax from that doesn't affect the airport. So we're going to go forward. The question is always going to be, well, how much of that is going to be generated? And hopefully we can answer those questions very, very soon.
Still to come, the legislative session is done.